What's going on YouTube? Cloverbuzz here, back with another Scarlet Violet video, and today we're going to be analyzing the Limitless tournament that took place over this past weekend. It was a really big tournament. I think it was the biggest online one for Scarlet and Violet to date. It was pretty much, I think it was 450 plus people, almost 500, right? And we got a lot of data from that, just in terms of where the meta is right now and where it could head. But I took some notes. I took notes of a couple of things, and even in the previous video, we kind of already started on that when we were talking about Hydreigon. I felt like I had to just make like a separate video for that thing, just because it was actually kind of cool to see all the Hydreigon running around here, and we got a little bit more to say than just about Hydreigon, right? And what's cool is these tournaments are great practice for what you want to do with your teams. Especially if you're trying to play in a regional, it's always good to test out these ideas in some online tours, right? And then you can just make some changes, adjust some things based on where the meta is heading. And then, when it comes time for that regional, you got a squad that is best suited to tackle, the threats that are currently on display, right? But going forward, what we're going to do is take a look at some key things that I noticed. And we have a lot of data that can give us a lot of information, and we're just going to discuss a couple of things, right? Because that's what we like to do. We like to break things down, analyze them, get some takeaways and see where we can go from here, right? So if you look at the timestamps, I've broken them down to topics based on what I think are pretty much important. Some of them are much bigger than others. Some of them are just smaller minor things, whereas some of them are much bigger stuff. So let's just go ahead and get onto it. So starting with topic number one. All right, starting with topic number one, I noticed that there was a huge, not really huge, but actually we'll keep with huge. I noticed a huge decline in the Intimidate, right? Normally you would want something like Arcanine or Gyarados or some kind of other good solid Intimidate mon to help against physical attackers on the team. But all of a sudden, we've seen a decline in that. And if you look at the top 36, I'll just go top 36 because top 36 was the number that made day 2 cut for Swiss rounds. So if I just click day 2 here, let's just narrow it down here. Okay, so let's count how many Arcanines slash Gyaradoses that we saw on these teams, right? So first of all, over here, we don't even have any. There's one. None here, none here. There's 2. Okay, none. All right, 3. Okay, nothing here. Nope. Okay, 4. Nope. 5. Nothing. 6. Nope. Yeah, see. 7. All right. 8. Okay, 9, 10, 11. Jesus, 11, 12, 13, 14. Okay, I think I missed one. All right, either 14 or 15, right? So of the 36, 15 teams had Intimidate. So that means 21 teams did not have Intimidate on the team, right? So that means more often than not, there was no Intimidate support on the team. That's surprising, right, for VGC? Because normally you want that. But the reason is, or the question is why? Why did Intimidate go down? Well, if you look at the teams, they either have strong special attackers, they have inner focus mons, or they just have an amulet. And the amulet item, the clear amulet item, is what changed a lot, right? So if you saw Garchomp, by the way, just ignore these guys. This is what I was working on earlier. But if you look at something like Garchomp, Life Orb was the starting item on it, but then people started deviating away from it and started putting this clear amulet item, right? And it basically prevents other Pokemon from lowering this Pokemon stat stages, right? So you can't really intimidate Garchomp with this clear amulet item. And if you just look at something like these top teams, I'll just go combine over here because this is from winner to straight. Let's look at this team. Fede Campo won the whole thing. All right, Dragonite, inner focus, doesn't care. Murkrow, doesn't care. Gholdengo, special attacker. Hydreigon, special attacker, doesn't care. There's the item. There's the amulet on the Ceruledge. And then Gengar, doesn't care. So what does Intimidate do against this team? Nothing. So it's what is my Arcanine and Gyarados really doing? Not a whole lot, okay? And then if you just go down the list over here, let's just even here, I'll even pick this team, this Dondozo team, right? So All right, Garchomp. There's the amulet, right? Tatsugiri doesn't care. Unaware. Hydreigon doesn't care. Gholdengo doesn't care. Talonflame not really there for Intimidate anyway. I mean, like, yes, it's physical, but like, what does that really do? Nothing. All right, and then it's just like even this team here, Pokalo's my favorite team, right? This is what we based our Tyranitar team off of in the other video. All right, Garchomp, Life Orb, sure, that works. Okay, Corviknight though, Mirror Armor, again, another tool against Intimidate. That could backfire on you. Amoonguss, Gastrodon, Rotomate, they don't care about it. Okay, yes, Tyranitar has this, but but you don't really need Tyranitar for like big damage, right? You have Dragon Dance, so you can pretty much neutralize that, and you have a weakness policy here. So what does that really do? Not a whole lot. So you get the idea, right? So Arcanine wasn't super great in terms of like Intimidate support against a lot of these teams, just because they had they had answers, they had tools, they had Defiant, they had the Mirror Arts. Well, there was only like a handful of Corviknight, but you had Inner Focus, you had the Amulet, okay. And there was a couple of Defiant stuff, right? Where like the Annihilate stuff, like, all right, let's look at this thing, right? The Annihilate was Defiant, so that also discouraged Intimidate. So like Arcanine's in a kind of a interesting spot right now, as far as like, yeah, I don't know if I can bring this thing, So that's what I noticed, and I think like going forward, maybe you might see even less Arcanine. And there is a tournament next weekend with Victory Road. I want to see how much Arcanine / Intimidate bonds are in that top 36 or however is many there is in that top cut for that tournament. It might even go down. And then what might even happen after that is like, do I even need this clear amulet item anymore? Maybe I still need it for like speed control stuff like Icy Wind. But then what happens if there's like no Intimidate at all? Maybe it might flip again. We're like, okay, we got to put Intimidate now because everybody stopped using the clear amulet. I don't know. It depends. It's tricky. But I think going forward, something has to happen. Maybe you opt for a different fire type, right? Maybe you go for more Rotom, or maybe like Volcarona could see a rise instead of the Arcanine. Because, you still needed Arcanine for like Snarl and Wisp. But like, if you look at something maybe like a Volcarona, that gave you Will-O-Wisp too. So I don't know. Maybe we could see a different fire type going forward. But, there just wasn't really that much Intimidate going on. Or it just wasn't really helping. So let's take a look at the next topic here. All right, the next one is something that, again, I talked about in the other video, and that is Hydreigon and its rise, right? And for the most part, I'm not gonna like go full in depth because I dedicated an entire video of that. But the idea was like, it's so versatile right now, and if you look at these top 4 teams, they all had a different Hydreigon set, right? This one had a Life Orb Hydreigon with a fire move and Terra Fire, right? Which is really nice against fairies because you can resist it. And you always saw Hydreigon paired with like Gholdengo Murkrow, which we'll get into like the next topic. But the idea with Hydreigon is, you used Arcanine to like click Snarls, but it wasn't really doing that much damage, right? Not that you needed it to do damage, but now when you use Hydreigon, you're getting stab Snarls, you're dealing more damage with it, and you get the damage mitigation. So it's actually really nice. Levitate is really good, just because, an opposing Garchomp can't hit this thing, right? Earthquake doesn't do it, and some of them are dropping the Dragon Claw and they're opting for another move. And then, even though you are susceptible to Garchomp's like Dragon move, you have your own Dragon move yourself. You have Draco Meteor to also one-shot that thing, right? So Hydreigon was really nice, and it did well against like stuff like opposing armor, which is other ghost types like a Dragapult, for example. And it was just a really nice breath of fresh air that, we went from like Dragonite E-Speed with Qianpao, and now we've got Hydreigon rising. It's a different kind of dragon meta. I wonder if another dragon in the next tournament could rise. I'd be very, very curious. But Hydreigon was really, really good. It also had Tailwind, right? So you could always use Hydreigon as like maybe a Tailwind setter. And then if you looked at this one, I think it was this one that had the bulky set. Yeah, this was the other one. So you could also have like Assault Vest, Terra Steel, and 4 attacks: Draco Meteor, Dark Pulse, Snarl, and Flash Cannon. So a bulky set that can also deal damage, but still stay on the field and be annoying and just click moves, right? So the Assault Vest helped it against special attackers. Like you could take, Gholdengo Dazzling Gleams. You could take Sylveon attacks. You could take Gardevoir attacks a lot better. You know, the Assault Vest was just really nice on the Hydreigon, but it really depends on how you want to use it. But you know, it has lots of options. Either be bulky and supportive, you know, with like Tailwind stuff, or an Assault Vest, or be more offensive with the Life Orb item and just deal more damage, right? But Hydreigon, it was just really interesting to see how many Hydreigons of the 36. So let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. What's that? 13, 14, 15. All right, 15 Hydreigons, right? So 15 of the 36 had Hydreigon on it. And how many had Garchomp next to it, right? You always had it with like another dragon that was really strong, and it was usually Garchomp. So how many Garchomp Hydreigon teams? All right, 1. Nothing here. Nothing there. 2. Nope. 2. Nope. Okay. Nothing here. 3, 4, 5. See, closest to the top cut, right? Where are we? 5. How many can I get? 6 and 7. Right. So 7 in the top cut had Hydreigon, Garchomp, and I think I mentioned that in the other video, right? So that's all I'll say here. So it's really nice to see Hydreigon do well, and you'll see a lot of teams build with Hydreigon now, with a couple of other key mons that we're going to mention in the next topic. So let's take a look at topic number 3. All right, with the next thing, I noticed that, again, there was not only a huge amount of Hydreigons, but then you had Hydreigons and Garchomps with Gholdengos and Murkrows, right? And just like in the other video, I mentioned that that was the key for. With a Tailwind setter plus strong physical dragon, Hydreigon, and then Gholdengo, right? So if you look here, look at this. Gholdengo, Murkrow, right? Over here. And then if you go down the list, how many of the 36, how many Gholdengo and how many Gholdengo Murkrow was there? All right, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, right? And then I can even go into 37, 38, basically 19 Gholdengos. Oh my goodness. Bro, that's like 66% usage right there in terms of the top cut, right? And then how many Murkrows, right? Oh wait, I have this. Hold up, I have usage stats. What am I doing? Yeah, this is what I wanted, bro. Okay, all right, 20 Gholdengos. And then Garchomp, there's 19. All right, how many Murkrows? 11. 11 Murkrows? Bro, dude, since when has Murkrow like dominated this much in VGC, right? Well, let's look at what it gets, right, in terms of the moveset. So, you know, in terms of course, you know, you get speed control with Tailwind, but you also get a couple other cool moves, mainly this. You get Haze. This is what people use to check Dondozo stuff, right? Because, you know, Dondozo gets the Omni boost from Tatsugiri, but then you just click Haze and now all those boosts are gone. And this is what people were using against that. And then you just get a couple of other 2 filler moves, maybe like Foul Play or Brave Bird. And then from here, maybe one more other move. Usually it's something like Taunt. And this was your set. This was a standard set. And then you had like Focus Sash over here, for example, or, you know, the Eviolite or Covert Cloak, something like that. All right. And then on the Gholdengo, it was either something like Life Orb or it was Choice Specs, right? Something like that. But it was either Make It Rain, the stat move, Shadow Ball, your single target move, Nasty Plot, and then Protect in the last slot, right? And these two were just like dominating, right? Because, you know, the problem with Gholdengo is the speed tier, right? 84 is a very awkward speed tier. You're slow, but you're not slow enough for Trick Room, and you're not quite fast enough to be like a super offensive like Glass Cannon Sweeper. And then you look at its bulk and it's actually pretty good. So then you have to figure, I just need Tailwind on this thing and then I can outspeed everything, right? So people, you know, they just made it faster than Dragapult, for example. So I could go to 107 or I can speed creep them by going to either 108 or 109. And then I can just go with my modest spread where I can just pretty much max out the attack like this, optimize my Life Orb chip and just end with 189 like this. And then from here, 1 point in defense and 1 point in special defense. And this is a very standard Gholdengo spread in Tailwind, right? As far as this guy, you just did this. You didn't even need speed. You either just went a split between like, you know, special defense and defense. So I can just go for the bump or something like this. Where is it? I think I passed it. where is it? 79, 80, 81, 82, 83, 84, 85, 86, 88, right here. So here's the bump, and then just do this, right? This is like a very standard Murkrow bulky set that, you know, you could just focus sash or whatever, or put like a covert cloak on it. But either way, this was it. Then again, now you had the Hydreigon, and then you had some strong physical attacker like a Gholdengo, right? And then from here, you just had two fillers, right? It depends on what kind of team you had. Either you did like Arcanine Amoonguss, Tatsugiri, Dondozo, you had Indeedee, Armarouge, something like that, right? But the idea is that you had this 4 as a core, and this is like, you know, a tier 1 squad moving forward, right? Do you have this 4 on your team? Because that's where the meta is right now, okay? And usually one of these dragons want to go for a steel type. Otherwise, you don't want 2 dragons because then you're just too weak to fairy, right? One of these has to commit to the steel type, all right? But the Gholdengo is really good. Look at this, like spread 120 base damage with Life Orb. You hit 2 things, and if you even have 1 nasty plot boost up, you're just sweeping everything. Like, I don't know too many things that want to come into a nasty plot and make it rain. And then, you know, something like Murkrow to give it speed control is really, really nice. You have haste for Dondozo stuff. Foul play if things want to go for Swords Dance or Dragon Dance. Really, really good option there. And then taunt, you can stop like, you know, potential Trick Room stuff, stop setup moves, stop protects, that kind of thing. It's a really, really nice move. So, you know, Murkrow had very, very good utility in this tournament. And it's probably, I think it's the best support mon right now. I think it is, arguably. All right, so yeah, and again, the offensive pressure from Gholdengo just does so much damage, and not too many switch-ins for it. So yeah, going forward, I think Gholdengo usage just goes way up, man. So now let's take a look at the next thing that I noticed. Okay, the next thing I wanted to take a look at was the current Dragonite set that people are using, especially the ones in Top Cut here. So if you remember, Dragonite was basically just clicking E-Speed and you know, going for Terra Normal, Choice Band, just deal a bunch of damage, you know, along with Qianpao's defense drops thanks to its ability. But now I think we've seen a little bit more of a different supportive Dragonite set. And this, I'm not saying this is like you know, final, but you know, it's just very interesting to see the evolution of the set. So if we take a look at Fede Campos team over here, so Assault Vest with Inner Focus, still Terra type normal, still extreme speed, but now you got low kick. All right, if you guys don't know what low kick does, all right, let me help you here. So if I just go over here, just to bring up a Pokemon over here, if I go to Dragonite, and if I click low kick here, what does it do? So low kick, it's a fighting move, right? And it has a couple of purposes, right? First of all, it says more power, the heavier the target. So I think that's really good. So if you think of things that are like really heavy and weak to fighting, Organical is one of them. You can also even put Hydreigon in that category, right? Because it's a fighting move. You know, just things that just don't really want to take it very, very well. But then again, you know, you have the Assault Vest here now, right? So now you're just very bulky, and of course, you know, you have very good bulk in general, but now with the Assault Vest, you can live the fairy stuff from like Sylveon, you can live the Gholdengo, make it rain stuff. So it's just very interesting to see. And this is not the only person that was using this, by the way. So if I keep going down this list over here, now I got, again, another one, Extreme Speed Dragon Claw, Earthquake with low kick, right? And Earthquake works well. This is like the Dragonite, the Garchomp roll, because you're next to Murkrow, you're next to Hydreigon, so you're pretty free in clicking that. So that's 2 Dragonites right there. Is there another one that has it? Here, this one's a top 8. So 3 Dragonites in the top 8. Same idea, right? Assault Vest, Inner Focus, you know, low kick again. And actually, I think it's the same team, right? Let's see, let me think. Yeah, it is. Okay, I think they built together, right? Maybe. But then from here, what's another? All right, here's another Dragonite set. This one's in 9th. What do you have? Choice Band. Okay, so Choice Band, still extreme speed. Giga Impact, low kick. So still low kick. All right, so that's a cool tech that people are starting to adopt. If I go down, I think there's like a couple more Dragonite here. What's this one? Is it still? All right, so this one's a Life Orb Dragonite with Ice Spinner. Whoa, what a tech, bro. But still extreme speed. So, and Fire Punch is still there. So a little bit of variance in the Dragonite sets, but most of them have the Assault Vest, and you now have low kick. All right, so it's a cool, interesting, you know, type of thing. I don't know if that's gonna mainstay, but I understand the reasoning behind it. Is there any other Dragonite teams? Oh, there's one down here, but this one did not top cut. Oh, this is Lacos. So it's kind of cool. It's still around here. Is this what's another one? All right, Choice Band, Firefly. Okay, so relatively standard set here from the previous format, previous like kind of tournament. But it's interesting to see that Dragonite set here. And again, it did win, so maybe Dragonite is still here to stay, even though Qianpao is no longer around. It still deals a bunch of damage. It still has a bunch of other support moves that you know, maybe you haven't really used yet. I mean, it is a bulky Tailwind setter that can't be faked out, right, because of Inner Focus. You know, Hydreigon also gets Tailwind though, so right now that's ideally the better option. But again, to see 5 Dragonites in the top cut, you know, with pretty much low kick and either an Assault Vest or some kind of Life Orb set, that's very interesting, right? So take from it what you will, but you know, it is interesting to see it that you know, another dragon option being used besides Hydreigon and Garchomp, right? So let's keep it moving here. All right, next thing I want to take a look at is the Dondozo squads. Now again, we have the uses data, so we're just gonna go ahead and take a look over here. I think this is the one. Yep, this is it. As soon as it loads, oh my goodness, my thing is lagging a little bit. All right, there we go. So Dondozo within the day 2, how many Dondozo teams? So we had 7 Dondozos, right? And what I also noticed was there's a little bit of a difference in the Dondozo teams that top cut versus the ones that didn't top cut, right? And I'm not saying it was just those sets alone versus like maybe player play or like the rest of the team building, but I just noticed something interesting from the different sets that the Dondozos were running, the ones that top cut versus the ones that didn't. Let's take a look here. So Dondozo, let's look at this one from Aaron's team. I believe it had, yeah, so it was a leftover set, unaware, and then with substitute, right? And then of course order up, Wave Crash, Earthquake. Oh, Wave Crash, cool. So 3 offensive moves with substitute, Terra type grass with leftovers. Okay, so leftovers was not that common of an item on Dondozo previously, right? I believe it was just like either a recovery berry or maybe even like something else, a lumberry, for example. But you know, the unaware just makes things a little bit more flexible, right? So that's interesting there. What about this one right here in number 4? Do we see sub again? We see another set. We see Rest and Sleep Talk with safety goggles, right? So now you can't really like sleep the Dondozo or even like quote unquote burn it. But Rest and Sleep Talk, that's interesting. So, you know, teams might want to chip down the Dondozo, but then you just click Rest and then you click Sleep Talk and you're kind of just getting recovery every single time, right? You're playing for this like end game. So very, very interesting set there. All right, and then if I go to number 3 over here, oh no, that was number 3. I'm sorry. Let me see, that was number 2. Where's the other set? All right, I have to go all the way down here actually. Go to number 16 with Mr. Mike, and it is another goggles set, Terra Steel, but with Rest and Sleep Talk again. Okay, along with Order Up and Earthquake. Okay, and again, goggles, leftovers. That seems to be, you know, the 2 good items for Dondozo right now. What about this one over here? Another top cut Dondozo team for Mr. Quiros. All right, again, all right. So leftovers, Terra Dragon, sub, and then this time 2 attacks and then protect. So there's still protect here with getting leftovers recovery, so that's pretty good. Oh, there's a Dragonite here again. There's that thing. If I keep going down the list over here, just taking a look at a couple more Dondozo sets that were in the top cut. Leftovers, protect, sub. Okay, cool. All right, and then down here underneath him, Dragapult with Colossal. Oh my goodness. All right, leftovers and protect, sub. All right, so it's a substitute leftover set that seems to be doing really well. Of course, you had those other 2 with Rest and Sleep Talk. Okay, but then as I keep going, all right, all right, here's another one. Still within the top cut. All right, top 32, 36 rather. Leftovers, sub, protect. Okay, and then this is liquidation, of course, instead of the wave crash. And then now, as I go down, all right, this one is just outside it. But let's take a look at this. All right, Lumberry with Earthquake, Order Up, Liquidation, Icing, 4 offensive moves. Okay, no goggles, no leftovers, so there's no recovery here. All right, So that's one thing to note. If I keep going down, all right, Pato was using Dondozo, but I think he had sub, right? I think he did. All right, yeah, he had sub and protect with leftovers. Okay, cool. But let me look at the next like 4 or 5 Dondozo teams from here, and let me just show you something. I thought this was actually a little interesting. All right, let's look at the Dondozo here, right? So, okay, goggles, but then liquidation, earthquake, heavy slam, order up, 4 attacks. Okay, no recovery. All right, so that's very interesting. Okay, and then if I keep going here, Cormac. All right, do you have a subset leftovers? It's Assault Vest with 4 attacks. So again, no recovery on the Dondozo, and again, you're outside of the top cut here. Let me look at a couple more, just to keep going here. All right, I'll just look at Kyle's and I'll stop right here. Kyle, all right, Animus, all right, really good player. Choice Band, 4 attacks. Okay, so cool thing to notice with the Dondozo sets. The ones that top cut all had some sort of recovery, whether it was like leftovers, sub protect, or some kind of just a rest sleep talk set. Those were the ones that were within the top cut, and then the offensive ones without recovery with just 4 attacks, they were not in the top cut, right? So that's something interesting to note, right? And that makes you question, like, what Dondozo set should I be running? Well, just look at the ones that were in the top cut, and maybe that might give you an idea. So I thought that was interesting to note amongst the Dondozo sets there. So let's keep it moving on some of the next stuff that I thought were interesting within this tournament. Okay, the next thing I wanted to look at here is, like, yes, I see a lot of Tailwind stuff with like Murkrow and or Talonflame stuff, but what about the reverse side? Where are the Trick Room teams? Do we see any Trick Room teams? And to be honest, I didn't really see that many. I was looking for like those hard Trick Room teams, and there just wasn't that many. Like, there was just like maybe some of the skeleton within it, but then not like full Trick Room. Like, when I think of Trick Room, I think of like the Porygons, the Calorexes, the Palkias, like from Sword and Shield, right? With Ensign as a backbone. But then over here, I don't really see that. Like, I was looking for like Torkoal stuff even, but like, I feel like you need more than just Torkoal, right? All right, so this guy right here, Mr. Hobbit. So he's got Gholdengo, Murkrow, Garchomp with a Trick Room backbone, looks like it, with Torkoal and Farigiraf, right? So here's the Trick Room, and here's it's an offensive Torkoal a little bit. It's got safety goggles, that's kind of cool. But yeah, again, here's like something that can play in Trick Room, but it's not like necessarily like full strong Trick Room, right? And then if I keep going down this list over here, even like this, right? So something like this, there's Tailwind and then there's Trick Room too. And we call it Tail Room, but like if you have both modes of speed control, that's very flexible in like best of 3. So that may be the way to go about it right now, is to just like have some options rather than just go like hard Tailwind and hard Trick Room, right? But that's always the case in like, VGC meta, right? You don't want to just go like only one mode. You want to have a little bit of flexibility. So, again, I don't know if we'll get that hard Trick Room yet. I'm still waiting for Ursa Luna. I think that'll change things a lot in terms of like what kind of Trick Room mons you'll see. But right now, I'm still seeing like Indeedee Armarouge and then like a bunch of homies with them, right? So like Meowscarada, right? This is not a Trick Room mon, right? This is just something that does well with like Tailwind. You just click Flower Trick and then you win the state, you win things, right? And then over here, you got 2 Follow Me redirectors, and then you have something to either click Tailwind or Trick Room, right? So something like this is what I'm looking at. Oh, this is Wolf's team, right? Oh, wow. Makes sense. He has both options. Makes sense. I didn't even realize I was looking at him. Who else? Like, is there anything else that looks like could be, or even like this thing, right? So once again, if I look at this, Indeedee Armarouge and 4 homies, right? It's just like, okay, I have Trick Room, but I don't really have the other 4 functioning in Trick Room. I just have it. It's just to like, if something wants to click Tailwind on me, I click Trick Room, and now I have the advantage in speed control that way. That's what it's used for. That's what something like this is used for, right? Not that these things want to play in Trick Room, but it's just to make sure that the Tailwind teams don't outpace you and just get speed control on you. That's why you have this, okay? But other than that, like, I'm just looking down here. Okay, we got this thing gets Trick Room, but does it have it? Aura Rayquaza, do you have it? Okay, wait, that's Trick. Never mind. All right. Let's keep going. I know there's another one. Okay, See, here's another one, right? Let's look at Bread's team. So Bread, all right. So Sylveon, Bronzong. I really like this core, by the way. I think it's super nice. Fits my playstyle. So you got Bronzong with Trick Room, right? But again, it's not like these mons want to play Trick Room. It's just like I don't want the Tailwind teams to destroy me, right? So this is how you keep pace with them, right? So that's really what I've been seeing amongst all these teams that like have Trick Room. It's more like a balance. You have all these balanced teams that like, you know, can play Trick Room but don't really have to go for it, you know, and they're very relatively bulky. So that's another thing. Like I see like the teams with Grimmsnarl, first of all, you know, they kind of have like that way of dealing with like Tailwind offense if they don't want to like play in Trick Room. So that's one thing to note. But other than that, yeah, I mean, all these Trick Room teams, they're not really Trick Room. They're just like, they have it just, you know, just so that Tailwind doesn't screw them over is just what I'm getting at, right? I think I'm beating a dead horse here. But that's what I've been noticing, you know, in terms of the hard Trick Room stuff, right? I just haven't really seen it. There's, okay, they're like, even over here, like Indeedee, Torkoal, Lilligant stuff with Armor Rouge. And then you got the Tatsugiri Dondozo duo over here, right? So this is Pato Squad, you know. I mean, cool idea, but like, again, I like this Trick Room core, but like, what are the other two options besides Dondozo, Tatsugiri? Can I slap something else on there that can really change things? I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. Maybe something in Victory Road can pop up, but right now, there's no like real dominant, strong, hard Trick Room team. So that's what I've been seeing. But let's keep going. Okay, the last thing I wanted to talk about here is just a couple of things in terms of pairs and compositions. So if you look at like all teams, Garchomp Gholdengo was #1, right? 96 times out of the 450 plus you saw it. Of course, you got Amoonguss, Gholdengo, Murkrow for sure. Garchomp, Rotom. Of course, Earthquake plus Discharge is the thing, right? You can Earthquake next to Murkrow. You get Tailwind support. Arcanine, Amoonguss, that's your defensive backbone. That was seen a lot. And then over here, you again, Hydreigon, Gholdengo was a thing. Gyarados, Amoonguss, Gyarados, Garchomp. You can Earthquake next to it. You know, you get a nice little balance there. In terms of day 2, for these homies, right? Garchomp, Gholdengo, Gholdengo, Murkrow, Gholdengo, you know, Hydreigon. You know, these all made up key cores. But the cool thing over here was the most popular team, which was this 6, right? We had Garchomp, you know, Hydreigon, Gholdengo, Murkrow, Breloom, and Arcanine, right? And there was some variance amongst the sets of the 6, but I really liked it a lot, and I wanted to leave this last section of the video just to build this kind of 6 and just to show you what I came up with in terms of EV spreads and sets. And it's very similar to what you might see from the Limitless tour, but I just wanted to show you just from scratch what I was coming up with. So let me go back here, and we made this for like a tier sub, but you know, I'm just gonna reveal it here. But anyway, so here's what I decided to do. So what's cool about this, right? So I went with a bulky Garchomp spread here, right? So by the way, we have this 6, but I went with a bulky Adamant Garchomp spread here. The reason why I went for this is first of all, I got Tailwind on this team, and now I have a Amulet set with Swords Dance, right? So Earthquake, Dragon Claw, Swords Dance, Protect. And the main idea here was I was outspeeding base 80s that were adamant, so something like a Dragonite that hits 132. And then from here, I just invested in my bulk with a little bit of attack and pretty much like super bulky Chomp. And you can take a lot of attacks this way, right? So I invested this much in terms of my bulk. Then the Hydreigon set, again, it's just, we just decided to go with choice specs here with Draco Meter, Dark Pulse, Snarl, and Heat Wave. So Snarl is really strong, especially if you have like a choice specs next to it. And then this 4th move, you know, this was up in the air. I decided to go with Heat Wave here just to put a little bit more pressure on like Gholdengos and other potential steel types that are running around, because I felt like Arcanine maybe sometimes just wasn't enough. But Heat Wave was really, really good into a lot of different things. Arcanine also, again, you know, even though Intimidate took a step back, I felt like it was still a pretty good mod to, you know, play with. You know, you still have that Intimidate support. You still get support moves like Will-O-Wisp. And over here, like Protect may have been common, but I went with Helping Hand. Just imagine like Helping Hand with Hydreigon Snarls or Hydreigon Heat Waves, or even like Helping Hand like into like Garchomp stuff, or Helping Hand into Gholdengo, Make It Rain. It does so much damage. And then even like over here, you still have Will-O-Wisp to cripple like physical attackers. I think that was also okay. Murkrow over here, we just decided to make this like super bulky, but like of course this is a standard set with Tailwind, Foul Play, Taunt, and Haze. We just hit the bump in special defense, and then the rest just went into max HP, and then the rest in defense. You don't really need speed on the Murkrow because you're clicking like prankster moves, and then you're just clicking the occasional Foul Play, right? In case of like Swords Dance or Dragon Dance from stuff like that. Gholdengo. So the idea with Gholdengo here, I think this is a very popular spread going around right now, but the idea here is you only need 107 under Tailwind to outspeed Dragapult, which is the fastest Pokemon in the format. So, you know, why not speed creep that and go to 108 or 109, right? So we went with 109. I think this is like a popular spread, but what you can do is just speed creep that and then just go to 110, and then you're okay, right? But if you're fine with keeping it at 109 to outspeed the speed creepers, then you still have optimal Life Orb HP where you're ending in a 9. So this way you're only taking 18 points of Life Orb chip per turn, as opposed to something like this where you have 190 and you're taking 19 points of damage per turn. Not necessary, right? So that's the idea behind this Gholdengo spread. Outspeed Dragapult, max special attack, modest nature, and then just a little bit more in pretty much almost max HP, right? So very bulky Gholdengo set. And then over here, the Breloom is the easy one, right? This is just Jolly Focus Sash here with Bullet Seed, Mach Punch, Rock Tomb, and Spore. So the Rock Tomb was a cool choice amongst all those teams, just because it gives you speed control, right? Other than just your Tailwind. So this way, like for mirror matchups where you're clicking Tailwind and he's clicking Tailwind, you have that benefactor of clicking Rock Tomb where you can do something with that. And of course, you have the fast Spore, fast Mach Punch, really good against like Hydreigon, the opposing Hydreigon, right? That doesn't want to take like a Technician Mach Punch, right? And then you have Bullet Seed, really good into like Dondozo stuff. So, you know, that's also really, really nice. But yeah, Breloom was a cool option on this kind of team, right? So I like it a lot. You have a Fire Water Grass core, I think. Oh no, you don't. You have a Dragon, a Steel type, a Fire type, Grass type, but you know, you still have the cores that you need, right? You still have Garchomp, Hydreigon, Murkrow, Gholdengo. This is the big four. So let me actually just move this over here. And then again, you had the two fillers with Arcanine and Breloom, right? It could have been Arcanine Amoonguss if you wanted to better play in Trick Room. Like, you could definitely take that out. But I think Breloom is kind of nice here. But yeah, this is like a standard set. So if you want to use something like this, go ahead and use it. Otherwise, you know, if you don't like the bulky Garchomp spread, you can just make it, you know, Jolly 252, 252. That's totally fine as well. And you know, the Arcanine is a little bit more offensive, just to put on a little bit more pressure, but it's still a supporting set, and Helping Hand can come in the clutch, so definitely take advantage and try and use it. But yeah, this is a pretty standard 6, the highlight 6 from the tournament. So let me know what you think of this 6. But yeah, we'll be back with another video, guys. And again, if you haven't joined the Discord already, make sure you join it. We've been getting new people every day, and if you're interested in team building with me, many of you have already signed up, which is insane. But if you're interested in building a team with me, that's a tier 3 sub to the channel in the video description below. Take a look at that. Or if you already have a team and just want me to look at it and optimize it a little bit, that's a tier 2 sub to the channel. So definitely consider that. And we'll post the link also in the comments. But yeah, that's all I have to say for now. Hopefully you liked this analysis on the recent tournament over the weekend from the Limitless Tour. I'll link the tournament in the video description so you can take a look at some of the teams yourself. But yeah, if you like this kind of stuff, make sure you like and subscribe. And again, thanks again for watching. So peace out and have a good night.